Hi everyone, Dorota International Nail Artist and Educator here. And today we are gonna relax with some amazing technique, one stroke. So have a preview of those flowers in here. They always look fantastic, and that's my favorite technique, as you know. I choose those nice and light colors, so you could actually recreate this look as well for a Mother's Day, for a spring, really nice and pastel-y, and I hope you really enjoy this tutorial. So let's start. Of course, my favorite nail art, we are gonna play with one stroke, and I choose the background on a very pale pink. Actually, that's the color I have on my nails with some Aurora pigment. 235 is called some pink. And normally, if I would paint it on a client, I would do it in a two coats. For this background, you can get away with the one coat, even if it's not perfect. So I'm just gonna paint it quickly, one coat of this color, because this way you will get like a quite interesting background, I would say. On the client, you would just paint the nails, and you can absolutely do it in a one coat as well. So just finish the nail extensions, buff them, apply one coat of this color, give it a cook, and then once you have done that step, you are gonna grab some tulle for ombre, and we are gonna use the color which is called Pink Sky 238. And basically what you want to do it is just put a slab of it anywhere. You could do it on the top or on the bottom, in the middle. So on this one I'm going in the middle, just remove any fluff which might be on my tool, and then just dab it in. Okay, so we have created nice interesting background, just so it's not plain. And then here, maybe for a change, I'm gonna go from the bottom, maybe a little bit too much I did, so I'm just gonna absorb it with the sponge, blend it with the side. There we are, that is nicer. And this way we've got interesting background. Next step you want to do it for it is to apply the top coat, and I'm just applying the High Shine No Wipe Top Gel all over. Again, I'm not too fussy how I'm applying this top coat, like even if there will be some imperfection, I'm not too bothered. This question comes up always, is like, why don't you apply matte top coat? I just find it easier to paint on the buffed surface. It's smoother than it is on the matte top coat. Okay, so let's say this tip is cooked. Probably not properly, but on the tips it doesn't matter. On the clients, of course, you have to really be strict when it comes to the curing time. And then give it a gentle buff to it. You don't want to use too rough buffer. Too rough buffer will create lots of scratches, and then later on when you do use paint, especially for the very fine lines, it will really show. Also, what I find that by buffing the tips or like even the nails a second time gives them a perfect light line, I call it. So when your top coat is reflecting some light, it will just go in a really nice and even line. That's like overall make your nails even more pretty. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly rebuff this one, and then we can move on into the next step of painting those amazing and beautiful flowers. Guys, if this is your first video you are seeing, hit the subscribe button, as there is honestly like over 1000 videos on this channel where I try to explain like as well as I can why I'm doing something, which angle to hold the brush, and how to achieve a best possible results for your nail art. So definitely hit the subscribe button. There we are, this one is ready as well. So we've got our backgrounds here, and the next step is to grab some acrylic paints. So I'm going to use magenta. The acrylic paints are available also on our website, so those are the brushes which I'm using today. And they've got like a twist lock, so I'm just like opening it, squeezing a small scoop of the paint, and then another one, squeeze out the paint, close them. You can give them a, if you didn't use them, like I didn't use my green for a while, so you can give it just a little shake to it to mix the pigments well. Then we've got some pink. I love all those colors. And then I clean it, as you can see it, so it doesn't block the nozzles. The paints will last you ages. You also need a drop of the water. So I've got my water in here, and we'll go with the one stroke brush level 1. Just because the flowers, I would still call them kind of level 1. They are quite nice, easy and simple ones. So I prepare my brushes with the water so they are nice and bendy. In a case of having some acrylic paint stock in it, use some monomer to dissolve it and then clean it in the water. Okay, let's start with the first flower. So we are gonna grab some white, tiniest amount of the magenta, and then some pink. So this way I will get a really nice color mixture. Even more. And I like to mix in the same kind of spot. So I will be using this place to pick up my paint quite a few times. And then let's do the first petal. So you're starting nice and straight with your brush, going to the top, then come down, and you have created the first petal. Do the same in here, come up, and then come down. I'm just going to try to keep the brush in a tip in the same position so you can see it even when painting on the clients. You can still achieve those results. Okay, then come up nice and straight, and then at the angle. Then we are going to do another one. And another one. To the top, and then come back. Okay, in between those ones, I'm just going to paint slightly smaller ones. Pick up a little bit more paint. And then I'm happy with this one. Leave it. And swap to the D-liner brush. Okay, so I'm just preparing my brush. It had some paints in it. So you want to twist it into a nice shape. I'm actually just scraping a little bit of those old paint. Do not press it too hard when you're doing it because you could actually damage your brush. And now we are gonna grab some white. For outlining like a detail, you want to have a very watery paint. And no fluff on it, of course. So I'm just gonna highlight some places. Just some of the petals. And one stroke looks amazing once we put the top coat, like absolutely fantastic. Okay, and then our next step, I'm just gonna do some inside of the flower, so just like this. Like a very thin lines. And then I'm gonna introduce yellow. And a white. And just add some small detail. Very gentle with my brush so I don't damage it. Applying some dots. Okay, dip in a white again. Press it harder, kind of almost shaky, drag it down. Hard, shaky, drag it down. Just so we've got some sort of nice and gentle detail there. And that's it. It looks amazing, like we just have to wait a couple seconds and then apply the top coat. And then let's paint another one. So I didn't clean my brush yet, just dipping it in the water, dry out a little bit of the excess of the water because we are going to use kind of similar colors um, and do similar flower, mix my paint well. I actually got some yellow in it, but that doesn't disturb it because you can still create an absolutely amazing flower. So this time I'm gonna go from the side, but I will paint a little bit faster because this is very similar flower, just slightly wider petals. So what I'm doing now with the brush, I'm just pressing much harder. And this way I will get like a bigger size petals. It's almost like massaging the paint in. Clean my brush. This time I dip in the water and I use the baby wipe because it has a tiny bit of this moist. It's really easy to clean it and shape your brush. Pick up my white. Again, I'm not bothered that I'm having those yellow in it. Mix the paint. Nice and decent mix, even a little bit lighter. This is fantastic. And then we are gonna paint some petal inside. So now I'm more careful what I'm doing, like I'm painting much slower, because the petals are much smaller as well. Really pretty design. Now I can see my paint doesn't move as smooth, which means it's a little bit too dry. I have just introduced some water in my brush and then just go and pick up a little bit more paint. That is much better. I can paint faster. If you also paint with the too dry paints, you could damage your brush. So remember that. Okay, going into white. So again, I need lots of water because my brush already started drying. Ideally, before you actually put your brush on the side, bring some water in it and just leave it in the water. That will do the trick. I'm gonna squeeze out a little bit more white. Actually, I've got some backing from the form. I'm gonna use it as well for mixing my paints. Because I always like to use quite a lot of space. Okay, and then this time I'm gonna outline a little bit stronger just so we've got a different kind of flowers. Okay, happy with that. More white in. And then those swirly-ish patterns. Inside the flower. So this time we are just gonna go for the dots. Nice and simple. We have paint another flower. Look how pretty they are. Okay, let's do some rose. Everyone loves the rose. So I'm just picking up the same mixture and my brush is very watery, which is actually too much, far too much. So I'm just removing the excess of it. I'm keeping it on my paper because I might actually need it. Let's maybe introduce some purple. Why not? So introduce some purple. That is an amazing mixture. Look at this. Okay, so to do the rose, we are gonna do the top part. Nice and slowly. Wow, this color mixture is amazing. Another one in here, just like this. Absolutely beautiful. Another one, much smaller. And you can see it, I have touched the top part which I have painted. That's not, actually it's okay. Then we are gonna do one more part, so white touch whites, and you are just gonna bring it down, just so you've got a nice twist in there. Do the same in here, nice twist. And then we are just gonna add couple simple petals, like get your brush ready and turn it. Move on the other side, get it ready, and just go all the way around. More paint. I'm using the same place which I used it before. Just actually gonna even grab some water which I had on there, and then I'm gonna paint another one. So just another petal here. Very straight brush now, because I want my petals to be smaller, and then I'm squeezing the petal in here. The brush I'm using is a One Stroke level 1. Okay, and this way we have painted some simple rose. We can swap to the D-liner brush, grab our green with the dot of the yellow even, why not? And then we are gonna do the parts on the bottom. So I'm just, actually I get some white in it as well. There we are. I'm just using the small brush to paint the parts for my rose. Then here on the top, there we are, nice and thin lines. This one is not open fully yet. And then even less product. Look how nice and thin it is. Nice and long. And then very tiny one in the middle. Okay, I'm just gonna get them all in a similar direction. Bring some other color, doesn't matter, it can be pink, like you can see it, I've got some pink, green, whatever, just so it's not as flat. See how much nicer it is, like even adding pink to the stem. We can also add some simple leaf, and I'm just gonna use the brush I've got again, so I want like a dirty mixture. I've got some pink, green, whatever, and we are just gonna add some leaf in there. Like the more messy brush you've got, actually the better. Clean it, grab some white, add some detail here. Look how fine it is. I love acrylic paints for this reason, that you can go crazy thin, like crazy thin. Pick up the white again, and then we will add the detail. So highlight, look how pretty it is. Now I can see the tip of my brush is broken, and the reason for it is I have created some dots with it. That's what usually happens. So I'm just trying to paint with this broken tip. Okay, highlight those petals. That's fantastic. Add some white through it. So again, lots of water. And we are just adding those swirly patterns which are completely random, like guys, wherever my brush takes me. They're hardly visible, but you don't want to overdo it. Nice and tiny. And then something in here. Hardly any product on my brush. This is always so relaxing. Okay, happy with this one. So we have created another beautiful design. Let's make a slightly bigger rose. So again, I've got my brush, you can see it. Because I dip it in the water, it's not dry. I'm just picking up the same colors. It is okay to pick it up messy, absolutely fine. It's not a... the colors don't need to be completely separated. I actually prefer it when they are a little bit more mixed, because then later on when I outline it with white, I think it is even more interesting. Okay, so we are gonna paint another rose. Let's do it maybe on that side now and make it bigger. Okay, and then more paint. I'm going back to those magenta mixture as well, because I want some of this color on my brush. Nice closing of the rose. And then since we are gonna paint a little bit bigger, I'm starting with those petals which are outside now. Leave some gaps in between them. You can even hide the one which is there, that's not a big deal. Pick up more paint. And now I want a little bit stronger white. Okay, so if we're going inside, you want a little bit stronger white. Actually, I will paint one more, but on the top. Make a closing to this one. Very straight brush. And then we are just adding more petals. So do not go too high. You want to have some empty space in between the previous petals. Then go from the other side. And come in inside. Drop of the water in. And then I'm gonna paint the tiniest petal ever. One in here, one in there. Okay, grab the D-liner brush and just finish off our design with some white. So lots of water in again. Let's make actually clear white. So this time I want some swirl pattern inside the flowers. And you can see how strongly the white is standing out. Clean my brush and reshape it a little bit so the tip isn't as broken. Beautiful swirl in here. And then we want to add another swirl. I really love doing that. So that's exactly the same like we did it. There we are. This one is a small bud, so we are gonna leave it. I'm gonna introduce a tiny bit of this purple and magenta, like a really nice and dark one. Lots of water in. And just color a little bit darker inside. Grab my green again. Nice and dirty green. Really beautiful. Then paint on the bottom of the rose. Go back to our white. So lots of water in again. Okay, nice and swirly bit. That was too much paint. You would make a mess if you've got too much. Very gentle. Perfect. Highlight those ones. And just go on the other ones too. You can actually, when you come in with your brush, you can see it, the size of the paint you've got. Like if you feel like it is too big, just remove the excess of it. Okay, I'm happy with this one. I'll maybe add just like some more in here. Nice and thin. And nice and thin. Okay, I'm very happy with all of them. So let's top coat them. And I want you to actually see it, what is happening when we top coat them, because they look absolutely amazing. The One Strokes pops out like from the tips. So High Shine No Wipe Top Gel, top coated, and our results are even prettier and stronger. Look at this. Everything smooths out any kind of imperfections, and the color is more visible. Let's do it on another one. So we have painted this one. Also, I'm just checking how the top coat is reflecting on my tip. Want to make sure it's all nice and pretty. if you would like to learn one stroke as well, like, and receive a certificate, we do run also one stroke trainings for beginners, where I do explain all the pin theory, how to pick it up, like how to do the things. And we also offer some advanced ones. Plus, there is lots of free videos on this YouTube channel. So remember, guys, hit those share button, pretty please. And oh my goodness, I just love them, and I hope you feel exactly the same. If you attempting to one stroke and you are not happy with the results, do not give up. My one stroke flowers was looking like cabbages when I started. They didn't look nothing like a flowers, nothing like what I'm able to create today. And believe me, it's just the right tools and a lot of practice, and everyone can get it there. Okay, so let's cook this one and then I can show you all of them. Okay, let's see what we have created. So we've got those beautiful rows. I'm just gonna place it on our display, and let's do it here. Then we've got another one. So that's another rose, and I'm gonna place it in here. And another one, that's some simple flower. Let's place it here. And then the last flower, I can just put it there, and then I can show you all the final results of today's video. Look at this, guys, absolutely amazing. Look how the light, so that's the one stroke, and how the light nicely reflects on it. Yeah, I'm sending you huge glittery hugs, and bye for now.